AI a little bit, the autocomplete for like Terraform is, I would say, a little bit better, right, than it was before. But we could actually, with a programming languages like CDK, with Pulumi, you have 100% precise autocomplete there, not Gen AI based, because all of those like classes and things will be defined in the library. All of those like contextual help will be there. So I'd say this is like one of the main things. So I'd say I also have seen that some people, I've seen different groups of people making their arguments regarding like IC, and after some time I realized it's the reason why, like, everyone have really different opinions about this is because our use cases are just different. Because it really depends on what kind of infrastructure you're creating. And so let me give you an example. Let's say you're a serverless developer, and what you need to do, you create like a Lambda function. So like you have serverless application, right? And then like I really don't want to draw this out that much. So I'll just kind of talk about it. So you have your Lambda function. It will need a role. It might need like a 3-bucket or DynamoDB table. It might need to have an API gateway or something. And maybe like some additional roles are needed, or maybe like some logs or whatever, right? All of this is actually pretty simple. There is this, like, if you think about this resource graph, it's simple. You really don't need loops there. You might not even need conditionals there. Maybe you will need, maybe you don't. But like, you don't need loops there, for example. Right? Like, you don't really have any kind of dynamicity of resources if you are building that kind of stack. Now, if what I deal a lot at my work is actually networking part, so VPCs, for example, and like transit gateways and Cloud One, and VPC is and network in general is very complex, and you 100% need much more advanced things there if you want to at least have a good interface. So let me give you an example there. So in your typical VPC, right, you will have subnets. So let's say, like, I don't know, I will call public subnet 1, whatever, right? The thing is, if you're doing it right, if you're defining some kind of strategy for your whole organization and how your VPC should look like, you will need dynamicity. You cannot make a VPC with only 4 subnets. I mean, you could try, that's fine, but like, this is not going to be a very scalable approach. Moreover, you might also want to give flexibility in how big the subnets are. So maybe like for one application team, you'll give like something like this, and this will be like /27 or something. And this will be /27. And this private subnet will be slash whatever. And then for another application team, you want to build a different VPC. Because maybe they are doing EKS and you actually need like thousands of IP addresses. And maybe what you will do there is you'll do something like this. And maybe you have a database as well that you want to put in separate subnet. And maybe you also have a transit gateway because you need to reach on premises. So you need another 2 subnets. So if you take a look at this example, and you as a whoever, like you're the person, DevOps, cloud networking, whatever, who is trying to build an IAC which allows to create different types of this infrastructure for different use cases. Like even like this is a relative simple use case, you'll have dynamicity here, right? Because one VPC might have 4 subnets, another VPC might have 8 subnets, they might have different sizes, things like this. So you need to have a proper mechanisms of this dynamicity. So have some kind of like in Terraform, this is all doable, right? It's not like it's not doable, but if you start doing this, this is not fun. So you will have a bunch of for each blocks. You will try to, if you want to create inputs correctly, and let me give you an example of like how I would do this. So I have here, I have here a text editor. So, and here I'm talking about like inputs, and in this case it will kind of be Terraform inputs, but I want to have similar inputs with Pulumi as well. So I want to have something like this as an input. So I want to have my VPC config where I specify the CIDR, like, you know, something like whatever, like this. Maybe even I want to, instead of saying, hey, instead of putting specific IP address, I want to have just a size, right? Like I don't know a specific IP address, but I know how big it is. So maybe instead of CIDR, I want to specify just the size, right? So that's kind of like, you know, kind of inputs that I'm thinking about. So then I have subnets, and actually, how do I do this? This needs to be in array. Okay, let me just do it first and then I explain why. Right, so in VPC you might have multiple CIDRs as well, so you also might need to have a capability like this, right? So where you have a one CIDR for one set of subnets, you know, another CIDR for another kind of set of subnets, maybe something like this. Okay, so then I have a subnets, and then subnets is also array, and then I do something like, you know, like something like this. That's how I think about like this kind of templating for infrastructure. Okay. There was a question about comparing with OpenTofu. I don't have a lot of experience with OpenTofu. There was this whole drama regarding licensing between, like, you know, Terraform changed licensing and then it created fork with OpenTofu. Like, they have now, from my perspective as a kind of consultant, it creates a lot of kind of problems, because now I really don't know what customers will use. I don't know if they're going to do Terraform or OpenTofu. So now I try to create modules on the last version before this fork was created, right? So like on 1.5 per point something. Yeah, like it was a really weird move with this licensing change. So, but like, use whatever you want. I don't see, like, I heard that transition to OpenTofu is actually really straightforward. So, all right. So that's kind of like one thing. And by the way, if you try to implement this specifically, where maybe what did I do? Second. So if you try to implement this with this IP addresses being where you get them from IPAM or something, you'll actually see how difficult it is to do it in Terraform. It's possible, but all of this is like, you try to like fit something that just doesn't fit there. And all of this is really because of the DSL stuff. That's kind of the main thing. Like, if you want to express complex logic, complex tree where like something depends on something else, it's a lot of pain. So that's kind of one thing. So second thing that I really don't like about Terraform. Oh, by the way, so it also shows in conditionals for loops. So like in Terraform, you don't really have conditionals. You have this count block where you set it to 1 or 0. It's like, it's weird. The for loops are also okay, weird. One other thing that really bothers me in Terraform is how the root module is. So let me talk about this, because I do think it's important, and I don't fully understand. So like, I see some feedback on like Reddit and some other places where they're like, oh, I don't use like TerraGrunt or some other tooling with Terraform. And like, in my head, I'm like, well, how do you do it then? And let me explain. I'll go back to this example. So let's say you created the module, right? So module in Terraform is this piece of like abstraction that you can reuse. And now you want to call this module. So for a VPC, there are usually 3 dimensions where these VPCs are being kind of created. So you'll have usually 1 VPC per application, per environment, and you might even have per region, right? So like in really big environments, this number of VPCs grows quite a lot. And technically, all of this could use the same kind of module that you create, right? So let's say you encapsulate this logic and you create a module. So then what you do is you create a tree, right? So you create something like you will do something like maybe like this. And this is like folder structure that I'm trying to do. Maybe per application first, like app 1. And then you say a region, right? EU West 2, for example. And then you do like test, stage, prod, whatever, right? Now inside of those folders, like if you just do plain Terraform, you'll have a main TF, you'll have variables TF, you'll have TFVars probably, right? And some other files, right? And like you will repeat all of this, like provider TF as well, right? Provider TF. And you will repeat this kind of like in all these places. And especially things like, oh, one more very important one, backend TF, right? So this is where you define what is the key in like a 3 bucket for your state. Like, I honestly don't understand how people do this kind of branching for this use case if they don't use something like TerraGround or alternative. So the Terraform answer to this was first Terraform workspaces, where you kind of like change this like environment, and it really like allow you to do only for this one dimension, really, like test stage prod or whatever. You don't really have this folder structure, but you could parameterize your backend TF state key here, and then you do switch like you do git branch, right? So it's kind of implicit switch. Like, I personally don't think it's great. Like, I think it's much better that where you have explicit folder structure. So that was one thing. I don't think workspaces were great. So then there was this other tooling like TerraGround, for example, which I think is fine. Like, it has its own set of problems, but it allows you to make it dry. So you kind of like remove all of this, and you only have like the TerraGround file with its like the variables basically. It's okay. It has its own set of problems. Terraform recently released Terraform stacks, which seems like this is what they're trying to address, but this is only in paid version. And I honestly believe that this kind of thing needs to be in the core Terraform. Like how you actually deal with a lot of environments, with a lot of instantiations of a module. I would say those are two main things that I don't like in Terraform. So DSL limits in what I can do. And then like how these root module deployments are done, like I think it's not great. There are other things that just I don't think they're that big of a deal, but if you use Terraform long enough, if you did a lot of imports, you'll probably hit the cases where Terraform fails at the apply stage. You'll probably hit cases where you cannot actually do plan at all unless you do a target for complex use cases. Like, people who did it for a while like will know what I mean. But it's like every tool has its own, I guess, set of sharp edges. So this is, I think, why Pulumi kind of stood out to me, where you try to express this kind of modularity, I would say, in a programming language, where you can use whatever you want, right? Where you can have contextual help, where you have all of the language specific tooling and like abstractions. I'm thinking with Pulumi, what I would want to do is I want to create like a very standard-ish VPC where you can change a lot of stuff, like almost like exposing a lot of variables, but then I want to wrap it inside of another kind of class or something where I would have a VPC that is like my own environment, where I say, okay, I know in my environment I always use IPAM and I always use Transit Gateway. So, and maybe I actually don't allow anyone to have internet access to my VPCs. So I actually encapsulate those default values, and now I have like class my own VPC or something. So I do believe this is where like it could shine. So that's like what I want to test today. That another like cool thing that they did, they plug into Terraform providers. Like I think it's absolutely huge that in Pulumi they basically wrap this Terraform provider stuff, so you don't have to wait for them to implement some feature. If the feature is implemented in provider, you can go ahead and use it. So I think this is very important for like adoption. Something else that stood out to me. There was this blog post from Dax, who is a creator of SST. Pulumi. Dax rat Pulumi. Why SST switch to Pulumi? This one, I think. No. This one. And there is a video as well where they describe like what they could do with Pulumi, which I think it was pretty cool. Let me address the chat if there is something there. Maybe use Terraform module. Yeah, Terraform module is a piece of reusable infrastructure, but then how do you call the module itself? That's what I was referring to. One more thing, I don't like when using Terraform and networking. You can provision, but you won't be able to push configuration to it. Most probably need Ansible similar. I haven't used Terraform against networking on-prem resources, so I don't know. But I do expect that, yeah, like on-premise networking is weird. Like they've been evolving APIs not very successfully, so yeah. Yeah, you do need to have very good APIs in order to be able to use like Terraform or other tools to be able to like replace proper blocks, etc. Erner is asking, what do you think about DevOps paths regarding future? I'm actually migrating myself from network engineering and I'm wondering if it's a good choice. I don't know, to be honest. Sorry, I'm not a DevOps person per se, I'm a consultant. I do think that if you want to go DevOps route, there are probably two things that you want to learn. You want to learn probably Kubernetes, and you want to learn at least one cloud provider, right? So for example, AWS, right? At least the main building blocks. And maybe even merge two together. So like if you can provision proper networking infrastructure, like then EKS cluster, for example, and then deploy application into this EKS cluster, and then maybe add some like ingress, like loadable launchers, security kind of pieces to it. That's like how I would approach going through DevOps paths. But like I don't know the state of the market, to be honest, on DevOps. All right. I think we need to go and actually do stuff, because I suspect I just like talking. Okay, I have here Pulumi account. I just created it. We might need to install stuff. Yeah, so we'll be going through some of their tutorials, and then I will try to go like my own way and see if we succeed. All right, so there are, let me go ahead and go to my dev machine. So I do need, so like I haven't been using this machine for a long time, so I'll need to install some tooling. I actually have UV, so UV is like package manager for Python. I actually thought I didn't have it. Can we update it? Yeah, UV self update. Yeah, UV has been awesome. UV is absolutely amazing. Right, so let's also install a Python version, like one of the latest. Let's do 3 UV Python install 3.13. Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So I need to install Pulumi. There is install script. Let's go ahead and run it. I don't like this. My terminal is not working. Okay. Oh, it's broken again. I have no idea what's going on. Okay, so some setup. Okay, whatever. Okay, so I guess we will need .vnv. I think there is. Let's install this first. They have a. They create a templating or something. Okay, so Pulumi version to test this. Okay, restart your shell. Pulumi bin to pass. Okay. Okay. So CLI is working. Do I have AWS CLI? AWS version. I also need AWS CLI. Snap. I can do snap. But I don't know the command for snap. Snap. Oh my god, it has been so long time. I usually do everything on Mac, so let's see. List. Snap list. AWS CLI. Find. Okay, so what? Snap install, I guess. No. Okay, I will have to finish setting up my AWS account, I think. Yeah, so I have here, I am Identity Center. I am Identity Center is configured in Frankfurt. I need to give a permission for the accounts. Okay, I have my account. I need a permission set for admin. Still predefined. Still admin access. Let's do 1 hour. Administrator access. And I need to assign my account to the group and give admin access. Okay. And if this is done, then here I should be able to see my account, which I do. So now I can do admin access. And I can log into this account. Awesome. All right, so we'll probably use S3 first, and then we will. I do want to do VPCs because that's what I'm mostly familiar with. Okay. So then what else? I do need to set up a profile, right? Okay. I don't remember the exact command, so have to. Or maybe I should Google this. AWS CLI setup profile with SSO. AWS configure SSO. Yeah. Session name. Okay, so I need to get my SSO URL. Let me pick that up. I will do it off screen. To the region. Oops, and I just show it. Okay, whatever. To be honest, I don't think it changes anything. If anyone knows the URL for to log in into my AWS organization. Yeah. At this point I can just forget about that. Okay, so here we do a new tab in a pieces and I allow access. I think this okay, this one actually okay, I usually do it on my own machine, right? So it just opens the browser and that's it. So here I actually don't know how to fix this. So I just took this URL. This allows me to authenticate. It does have a callback redirect URI. Okay, let me see if I can Google this. So AWS configure SSO redirect URI to localhost. Do you guys know how to easily do this? Or maybe, can I? No, I will not be able to do this. So it says I do need to have a port redirect. Oh my god, this is more annoying than I want it to be. Do I have an SSH server here? Uh, Let's try it like this. Yeah, we'll need an account ID. SSO role name. Administrator access. Region will be also use central one. Output JSON. Okay. Let's see if this works. Yeah, I need to do SSO again, right? If your browser doesn't open or you wish to use a different device, and I need to enter a code. Right, I think this should work. Actually, let's see. Allow. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Yay! So I can now do AWS STS get color identity, and I am logged in. Okay, awesome. Right, that's awesome. Sorry folks, I was really rather focused on this. Maybe you can do port forwarding. Yeah, so apparently I didn't need to do that, so I just needed to set up profile correctly. Let's see what else. Hi tester Chuck. How are you? Would you say MD-level intuition of biology? What? Okay. All right, so I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead and what? Do we need this? Do we have Pulumi installed? We do have Pulumi installed. We don't have Pulumi installed. I think we do. Yeah, we do. Okay. So I do need to do Pulumi login. So I think this is actually interesting because I did this before for like my other account. By default, Pulumi stores state in their cloud, right? Versus Terraform just creating a local file. Now you can change this for sure with Pulumi and store it in a file in the S3 bucket or locally, whatever you want. But you do need to do an additional thing for it, right? Okay, so this is probably the part where I need to be careful. Okay, I don't need any of this. Don't need this. That's fine. Okay, I don't need AI. I'm good. Just let me find out. Okay, so I guess I need token. All right, so I will switch to my secret view for just a second. Let me create a token. Okay. So okay, I can switch back. Okay, so it just asked me to create a token and put it here. So all right, so I am now logged in, right? So I am now part of this account. There's stacks, deployments, stack updates, blah blah blah. Okay. There is get started. Let's go through this. So Python. Okay, let's go next. First project, city first project. Okay, I will just follow their tutorial real fast, and then we'll go off topic, and I will do what I want to do. Cause okay, so Pulumi new AWS Python. And you can deploy it. Okay. All right, so let's just keep it the same thing. That's fine. Dev stack. I'm using UV. I will be using U Central 1. And it's using stuff. Okay, so let's go ahead and directly now look at what it's doing. So something else I will need to create here. So I need to create the file just so we are sure that we are using correct profile. Okay, so this way, if I do HTS get color identity, I can I don't think this is this is like actually incorrect. That was incorrect account. So that's good that we actually did it. Okay, this one is correct. So 9296 cat AWS profile. Config, right? Yeah, 9296. Okay, so now we are in correct account. Awesome. All right. Okay, so let's look at the file structure. So probably let's start with like Python part of it, right? So dependencies. So dependencies will be in PyProject toml. So there's project name, blah, 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 description. It uses the Python versions as we specified. Well, we actually didn't specify this. It used default. And it says use Pulumi and use Pulumi AWS library. Okay, fine. So then it went ahead and it actually installed all dependencies. All of these dependencies were installed. So then we have main file, right? So this one imports these imports S3 from Pulumi AWS, and it creates a bucket. Now, something I don't know on top of my head, and that's something that we'll have to check, is this the provider? Is this a Terraform provider or no? I think this Pulumi AWS maybe, but you'll have to check. So we create the bucket here, pretty straightforward, and then we have Pulumi export statement where we say the key will be bucket name and the ID will be whatever this object is, right? So after creation. All right, so they say they're in documentation. Oh, no, let's go to the rest. So git ignore. Okay, fine. So then there is Pulumi YAML and then Pulumi.dev YAML. Okay, so minimal Python Pulumi program. So it's kind of just says, okay, I'm using Python and I'm using UV here, nothing important. This one I don't yet understand. Probably it's explained somewhere. So what does Pulumi tags do? Pulumi template. Yeah, so that's something that I need to understand. What does it do exactly? Okay, send Pulumi dev. It's specifying the region. Okay. I'm trying to wrap my head around this as well. Like, this seems like kind of like provider TF something, right? Like it's, yeah, I guess I would just need to go to docs and like understand. Okay, let's create it. Let's just follow this along and see what will be the outcome of this. Pulumi up. Let's go. All right, so it does seem like it's a dev stack. There is some plugin being installed. Okay. So there is Pulumi stack, and inside of this stack there is a bucket, and it's being created. Okay, so this is kind of like plan, kind of Terraform plan. Let's go details. What does detail do? All right, so details give me errands here. Okay, interesting. So they kind of like use this almost AWS style, this errands. Right, so maybe let me copy this and try to like deconstruct this. Just so I kind of like get an idea of this. All right, so this is ARN portion, right, of AWS ARN. Then there is like some identifier. There is a stack, we call it dev, and there is like a first project inside of it. Okay. And then there is a bucket with a random prefix. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and create this and see. Okay, yeah, it should be called my bucket. I guess it's a prefix, but let's just see. Okay, so what do we... Oh. Okay, we will check these parts out. Okay, So I do have here some stacks. Okay. So there is like a project and then there are like deployment of this. Okay. Number of resources created. Let's see. My bucket. Okay. AWS region. Pulumi tax. Okay, so I guess this configuration is some metadata that will be on stack that will be displayed here. At least that's how I read it. It created the bucket in my account. Let's go ahead and check this. Philip, hi. How are you? I remember we met at AWS Community Day, right? In Prague. Let's see. Where is my S3? Okay, buckets. I think I do need to change to my region. General purpose buckets. Yeah, my bucket is here. Oops, what the hell happened? Yeah, the bucket is here. All right, so here's what is interesting and I want to understand here is what exactly is this provider and why do we generate the suffix, the random suffix here, right? So I suspect this is some kind of like, you know, some like this logic needs to be incorporated somewhere. So I think we need to go and find the documentation for Pulumi AWS S3 bucket v2. And I suspect this is like some higher level construct. But maybe I'm not correct. Okay, this seems to be this provider. That's fine. Yeah, so it does seem like it's higher level resource, to be honest. Phil, we specified the bucket name here. It's over here, so it was specified. I am just thinking that this particular construct is like L2 construct in CDK. Its ID is not the name. Okay. Let me... Okay, AWS API, AWS S3. Okay, unique name of resource. S3 bucket. Bucket prefix. Name of the bucket. The provider will assign a random unique name. Must be lowercase. Okay, I see. Okay, so I can override this property here. Okay, one more time, let's go to this. Okay, so our resources. So we have I don't know what these two are. It seems like just some metadata. Okay, so something that is interesting to me, or maybe, yeah, I'm a little bit, that's not what I expected here, I guess. Because it shows a resource of this type S3 bucket v2. But I expected to actually had lower level, like AWS S3 bucket, and it has name and etc. etc. Or maybe inside of it will be bucket domain. Okay. Let's see if I do my custom bucket with my awesome suffix. So if I do something like this, okay, I think I need to split the docs. I don't like how this looks like. So let's do like this. Resource name, bucket, name of the bucket. Okay, so if I override the bucket name after creation, and I will save this and I do Pulumi up again. Let's see. Okay, so it understands that, okay, I cannot just rename it. I have to delete it. Okay, so let's do this. Okay. Okay. It worked. Okay, that's fine. All right, so let's again reanalyze this output. So we changed the bucket name to my own bucket name, right? And it understood that we need to redeploy the resource, we need to replace it, and it changes, and then it showed that output has changed. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm thinking about, no, Terraform also does the same thing, right, with outputs. Okay, that's fine. Okay, cool. I think we are like more or less good here with this example. I think we can start building better stuff. Maybe I want to, I do want to read a little bit more about Pulumi def YAML in Pulumi YAML. Okay, let's see how fast we can get there. Okay, stacks. Every program is deployed to a stack. Stacks are commonly used to denote different phases of development. Okay, fine. Fine. Given the stack, the following are all equivalent if the current project is my project. Okay, so org project environment, that's fine. I can show stacks in this excuse me, We can show them in CLI. Let's go ahead and do this. Okay, so it does refer to Pulumi YAML. Let me copy this because I want to use it now. And I can kill this file. So Pulumi stack ls. Okay, so there is dev stack. Okay, to be honest, I do want to add a new stack here, just so I can stack select. Why would I want to select a stack in the CLI? Kind of like manage different resources or something. Okay. Use stack resources. Okay, let's also do this as well. Pulumi stack, right? Okay, so it says I have a bucket and I have this. Okay, let's try to explore this addition of environments. So let's do my custom bucket cool suffix prod. Yeah, so I'm already wondering how this will work. Let's see if this will work. And just for the sake of this, we'll have for now the same account for dev and prod. And maybe even I will change, I will create another account. Okay, so something already that like doesn't fully resonate in my head is like I want to encapsulate this, right, into its own template module, whatever you call it. I want to be able to replace the value of here with some kind of interpolation. Okay. Right, so I hope like this is somewhere in the docs relatively soon. Stack tags. Okay, tags, yeah, they are associated metadata, outputs. Exports are JSON serialized. Okay, fine. Pulumi gets stuck. Okay, so this is already something, right? So this gives you currently deploying stack, which can be useful for naming, tagging, accessing resources. All right, so this is useful. Okay, so stack reference allows me to go and target other stack. Maybe let's already like try to put it into test. So this is my first project, whatever. Let's create my own stuff. So I will have networking. Let's copy all of this. Interesting, my control. Okay. So networking. Maybe let's just call it VPCs for now. Again, let's just keep this dev stuff. Let's try to create VPC, but for whatever unknown reason, I do want to reference this bucket name just to make sure like I can do it. Right, so let's go ahead and do this. So let's go into their docs. All right, yeah, so this bucket v2 is definitely like higher level construct here. It's not the lowest level construct. How do I do this? API docs. VPC. Okay. Can I find it here? Okay, it's over here. EC2 VPC, okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and do already what better stuff. Okay, documentation is here. So let's go take the bigger one. Okay. Main PY. Like this. Okay, so something I want to do is I want to reference, just so I can do this, I want to reference the S3 buckets that I created in another stack. And the docs example had like this. Let's copy this and see like if we can get this to work. Do something like this. Pulumi stack ls. I think I need to reference my account this, and they said I can reference it like this. Fine. Provider get output. Okay, so I can get output Let's do something like this. The output here was bucket name. Right. So if I did everything correctly, I hope this will work. But we will not know until I run this. Right, I think this is just metadata that I don't need at the moment. Let's delete log file. Okay, let's create another folder here. Let's do VPCs. Okay, we need to do UV install. What's the command? Sync, right? I don't need to run. Init doesn't do anything, so sync I think is correct. UV sync. Yeah. And then I do what Pulumi up here. Oops. Oh. Cannot import name AWS from Pulumi AWS. Okay. So I guess I need to install what different provider for this? Curious to know how Pulumi works when integrated with CI/CD. I suspect, and don't quote me on that, is you add your repository directly to Pulumi and then they run it on every pull request or something. And I think we could actually try it. We'll see. Like let's get through this and then maybe we'll have some time. We can do that. Okay, I'm not sure I understand what's wrong here. By the way, this is incorrect. Cannot import name AWS from Pulumi AWS. Alright, let's try to Google. I guess I need to somehow in the here there is some kind of other way to specify this dependency. What do you guys think? What I'm doing wrong? Input Pulumi. AWS provider must be configured with credentials to deploy, update resources, blah blah blah. It's fine. Get started with AWS. Pulumi stuck in it VPCs. I think it realized that this is a new project. Yeah, so this is there, and even this stack is there, so it does seem this part is fine. This is strictly Python errors that we are seeing here. There is a package missing inside the instance. I don't think that's the case. We can check this. I think UV3. Yeah, we are, unless this is something different. Pulumi AWS. Okay. Deactivate and source it again. With UV you don't need to. With UV you don't need. No, I think you're actually right. I think you're right. But actually I'm not sure. The reason I'm not sure now is because we don't run it with Python commands, we run it with Pulumi commands. So I actually don't know the entry point for this. What the hell? Is this because of this? Like just because of this part? AWS Python? Let's try it again. Cannot import name AWS from Pulumi AWS. Okay. Paul, I actually not let's try this. I don't think that's the case because UV is specified here in the YAML file, and when you do like UV run Python, for example, this should work. Yeah, actually it doesn't work even from this virtual environment. Let's do what? Import sys pass. Let's try it also in this project. So we run Python import sys.pass, and yeah, it actually doesn't work even here. It does seem like it's just not installed. This is weird. Yeah. Okay, Pulumi install Terraform AWS. Follow the instruction. No. This doesn't seem to be true. Install AWS. Pulumi AWS. Pip install Pulumi _ AWS. Just again, well, we can clearly see that this is broken even in this example. But I don't understand how, like, this package is installed. Pulumi AWS providers. Pulumi registry. Okay, import Pulumi AWS as AWS. So if I do it here, this should also break, right? Mind blown. Here it just works. I don't even... Oh! Guys, never mind. It's me. Oh no. Oh no. They just renamed this. This is not AWS inside of Pulumi AWS. This is just renaming. Oh my god, no. No. Please no one clip this. This is very embarrassing. Okay, I'm glad we were able to solve this, because I was going crazy. Okay, interesting. So, unsupported type for output and ACR. I think I heard one complaint about Pulumi, something related to this, where outputs are not cast as strings. So let me see if we can find the solution for this. So Pulumi output as string. There definitely should be some. It's not possible. It's container. Output is like promised any volume. Okay, let's find a Python example. No, this is not Python. How do I convert output into str? You cannot convert. Cannot convert to a plain string. You need the plain value of an output, and you will need to print the value inside of apply. You'll need to print the value inside of apply. Because the value is known inside of apply. The print will work successfully. If you're running print outside of the apply function, which means the output is not resolved yet. Okay. Will it be like infra and apply lambda if you do the following resource ID apply, maybe let's try to Google this. So Pulumi get output from another stack and convert it to string. Yeah, the thing is, a lot of errors will stay with Terraform forever. This is actually not easy to do in Terraform as well, because those are two different stacks. We don't have any direct reference from one to another. So this, like, the way you usually do it in Terraform between different stacks, you will write something to like parameter store and you will retrieve it. So I don't really think it's a realistic example. But since I already went down this rabbit hole, I do want to like get to it. Because like you have two stacks, they live their own life, they have their own life cycle. And now you want a reference output of something else as an input to another stack. The fact that there is something at all to be able to do this is actually interesting. But I'm not sure how to figure it out yet. Pulumi get output function. Maybe something here. Properties returned from the cloud provider API. It's also how Pulumi tracks dependencies between the resources. This is, by the way, the case. I think the more realistic case will be you create a VPC in one stack, and then you create an EC2 instance that references subnet in another stack. So you can specify subnet IDs like just as inputs separately. So, but like it's manual input. I want to understand if I can reference this other stack, but like it's obvious that there is some kind of there is something here that can do it. Okay. Let's go back here. Okay, so that's what they say. Go to another stack, get an output. Okay, that's fine. How do you use this though? I think this will work if I don't try to merge it. Let's see. Does this work? If I don't try to merge it. Yeah, so this works actually. Do you want to perform this update? Yes. And let's see what we did. VPC. Oh no. Have to log in again. Different. Okay, so this works. I can already say, like, even this capability is pretty awesome. Like, if you think about it, like this VPC subnet plus EC2 instance is good example, right? Like, you have one stack VPC you created, and then you reference that stack for a subnet value. Instead of like writing it to parameter store or something. Now, the only thing is concerning is like, how do I make it look like the way I want it to look like? I want to add a prefix here. I do want to find this out. So if any of you guys know how to do this, do let me know. Where was this? Okay. I wish they they show it over here. All right, awesome. Okay, that's what I need. That's what I need. So I need to do apply. I will get this S3. So bucket name. Okay, let's see if this works. Can you just use Python to manipulate string? I cannot, because let me just run it first and then I will try to explain. Maybe with Excalibur or something. Where is my Excalibur? So we have two different stacks, right? One here is S3 bucket. You give it an input like a bucket name. And right now our output is also bucket name, right? In more realistic example, this would be like ciders, and then here will be VPC ID, subnet ID. Right? So that's what we have here. Now, this is an input string, but like, how do I share the input string between two programs? Sure, I can like write it to environmental variable. I can put it in database. You know, I can do something like this. Like in this case, it's probably just not the best example because here the input and output is the same. Maybe a good example here will be ARN of the bucket. Right, so just for example, this can be a bucket ARN. You cannot know bucket ARN beforehand, right? And then in your different stack, and it doesn't matter what stack it is. In our case, it's VPC, and I say the input will be name and cider block. And I want to say that this name comes from here, right? Because that's how you would do it. For example, if you create VPC, you'll get a subnet ID, and then you'll have a block where you create an EC2 instance. Your input here is going to be a subnet ID. Right? So, like, as I said, in Terraform, the way you would usually do this, you would write this subnet ID to SSM parameter store with some key, and then you would provide this string as an input, like, I don't know, subnet ID AZ1 or something to use. So the reason Pulumi doesn't allow you to just like add, like use this output and then like manipulate it as string, because it's something that it will know like only during like the resolution of the stack, if that makes sense. So that's why, like, it's a little bit confusing and I still don't fully understand it. But it kind of makes sense. Like, you need some logic. Maybe this stack that you reference hasn't been created yet, hasn't been deployed yet. So you would need to make sure that this stack is first deployed. Only then you can extract the value out of it and then do something with it. So they came up with this kind of apply thing where you have to do any manipulation inside of this apply block. So a little bit weird, but okay. So I think this stuff is actually a little bit impressive. It's complex, but it's cool. Let's do maybe a couple of subnets and then I will wrap up because I'm a little bit tired. And then next time I will do I will try to build what I want to build, which is a reusable block where is this? Let's close all saved. I want to build an inputs like this, and then I can deploy a VPC, and then I can deploy it in any region, in any environment I want. That's what I want to do for next time. But for today, let's just create a couple of subnets just so we are... Okay, something else. I think I want to reload this project. I want to see if I will have the contextual help, because I am not seeing this help. Hold on, I need to do like this. So if we write a code here, okay, we get all usual Python stuff, contextual help. So this is just so much easier. Let's do what? Inputs JSON something. Let's make sure we use the same one, because otherwise we'll have to redeploy VPC and I don't want that. Let's do int az1. Okay, so let's do this subnet as what, /24. /24. We'll do az_ad. This will be EUC1 AZ1. Okay. This should have been in this block. Okay. One, two, three, four, right? 3. Oh, what did I do? Let's do what? 1, 2, and then let's do 101, 100. Let's do 11. This will be what? dB. dB1. Oops. dBAZ1. dBAZ2. Let's do it /27. /27. Okay. So we have our JSON file. This is actually not JSON. This should be a JSON, right? Comma. Maybe YAML would be fine. Yeah. Okay, so let's write a small Python stuff here. So we will import JSON. We will from vpc config is json.load. No, please open inputs to JSON. SF. We will load this config file. We don't need this part at all. We will no longer reference. Yeah, we don't need this. And we don't need this either. Maybe we can, you know what, just for the sake of it, ref buckets or something. Let's do the name. Did we specify here a name? We did specify here a name. So this will be what? VPC config. So ideally we would want to create a Pydantic model or something. Maybe we should do this models.py. We'll add here Pydantic star. Let's do UV sync. Probably didn't specify it correctly. Will it work like this? Let's do what? Pydantic versions. Release history from. Let's do bigger than to 10 and less than 300. Okay. Close bracket. UV sync. Okay. Pydantic is installed. From Pydantic import what base model? I think base model. We will do class VPC config, class subnet config, base model. Let's split this right. let's do it here from VPC config, base model as well. So we will have name, which is str, have a cider, let's just call it str, but it's whatever. Like this. Oh, sorry, this is not that. Should be subnets, which will be a list of subnet config. And here subnet consists of name, AZ, ID, and cider. We can make it more granular. We can say it should confirm to this regular expression, or the cider should be an actual IP address. But like for now, I don't care. I just want to get it working as fast as I can. All right, so this model looks good. We can test this out if I do what uv run Python. So here I would say we would need from models import base import what VPC config. And I need to reference pydantic docs, pydantic load from JSON. There was validate JSON, model validate JSON. Okay, so model VPC config validate JSON, and we load the file. JSON data. Yeah, I think this should work. We can do it like this and see if this works. Name VPC config is not defined. Oh, I think I needed to do it like this, right? Yeah. Does this work? JSON input should be string, bytes or bytes array. JSON input should be a string. JSON input should be string, bytes or bytes array. Yeah, I think I can do it like this. I don't remember. What am I doing wrong? You do file name, it would just work. Yeah, okay. Create an instance of VPC config. Here's an example of JSON parsing via model validate JSON, showcasing support for strict spec while parsing JSON data. String bytes or bytes array. I think this will work. Let's see. Oh, okay. I think I just do this. This should work. Input should be a valid dictionary or instance of VPC config. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there is a way to deal with directly JSON, but like I just cannot get it to work right now. Must be mapping, not a list. Must be a mapping, not a list. Yeah, okay, so this is fine because I created here. Yeah, this is a little bit incorrect. Yeah. Yeah, this is how this should be. Because you have a single name for VPC, but this can be different. Okay, this is correct. So now we have to fix our model. So VPC config can have a name, and what we say it can have CIDRs. So class CIDR VPC CIDR config will have CIDRs and subnets. And this will have CIDRs, which is a list of VPC CIDR config. Okay, so let's rerun this and see if this works. Let's see. Base model got unexpected keyword name. Model validate got an expected keyword argument name. Name and CIDRs, this is correct. Name, CIDRs, this is this. Okay, folks, are you seeing? Because I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong here. Seems to be I'm very close to getting this to work. Oh, model validate got unexpected. Let's just do this. I think, okay, I think this should work. Yeah, finally. Okay, so now I have fully structured data from my JSON, right? So it took a while, but it's actually not that hard, right? So you can think of it as almost like a variables TF, but you define it once. So we have our inputs, which we validated. We can go here. We can say now that this should be our VPC name. Ref bucket is whatever. We just will keep it for completeness. We don't care about this. I'm not sure why it doesn't like it. Oh, I think it's comma. Okay, we can get, for now we'll say a single cider block. So VPC config ciders 0 cider. Alright, so then for subnet config in VPC config ciders 0 dot subnets. We will create a subnet. We'll have subnet config name and availability zone ID, right? Availability zone ID will be subnet config AZID and then cider, right? And then cider block was subnet config cider, and then let's give it a tag, right? Let's do it without tag. No, I actually do need to give it a tag, like this, and this will be subnet config name, and I don't need this bucket. All right, so I think this is it. I think this should work. Any possibility we can have code in public? Maybe. Probably we'll see on the next stream if I will be able to publish this. Let's run this first. Let's see if I can get it to work, and we'll wrap up. It will probably, something will fail. Missing property VPC ID. Yeah, this is fine. This should reference VPC ID. So I'm curious if it will let me reference it like this. I don't know. I'm not sure it will, but we'll see. Or it might. Awesome. It says VPC will be changed and 4 subnets will be created. Let's go ahead and check this in the console. VPC was renamed and 4 subnets are there. And the beauty is I go into my file now and I adjust this very easily, and I say GGW subnet, AZ1, AZ2, and this, let's say 32, and then this will be what, 32 as well, /28. So I just added 2 more subnets in my JSON file with a structure that I wanted. And let's see. And look at this. 2 more subnets are already here. Right, I think I'm tired, so it's time for me to go. This has been great. Like, this is the kind of stuff that I'm looking for in my IC, because I want to have a very simple interface for my users, but then the logic may be complex, right? So here, this like what? This line of code just defining like a structure of how my input should look like, what fields are there. I can even write descriptions here as well if I want to, but I don't need to. So this helped us parse the input file, right? Like this. And then with very, very simple code, I was able to here to create this VPC, and then like with very simple for loop, reference those values and create those subnets. Like, this is the power that I'm looking for. Yeah, like it took a while for us to get it up and running. Like, I did some silly mistakes here in Python, but it's all good. So here's what I want to do next. So I will next time I will explore more Pulumi, and I want to explore more in that dimension of, okay, I want to deploy VPC for many applications in different environments in different regions. How I can do this, right? Like how my program will look like. Can I, like, do I create here a new like YAML files like this? Like, what do I need to do? Because that part is not clear to me. By the way, another very powerful part here is this stack reference. This was great as well, right? So in this allowed me to reference value of different stack. So when I will be creating EKS cluster or EC2 instances, I can also reference the subnet IDs that I created in this stack. Like, this is awesome stuff. So ideally, I would then also, after I build this, I want to add integration with AWS IPAM so I can request IP blocks from IPAM. And then I want to modularize this. I want to create either a class or like whatever abstraction is that encapsulates VPC subnets through tables, DNS configuration. And then I create those VPCs in different environment. That's what I want to see next. Right. Yeah, I think with that, I'm very impressed with what I'm seeing. There are, of course, some like things you really need to understand before like doing this, but I think Pulumi is pretty awesome. Thank you so much, folks, for sticking with me on the stream, and yeah, we'll see each other next time, probably 2 weeks from now. Thanks. Bye-bye. See, Chuck.